After many years, Daredevil has finally returned. Born Again arrives on Disney Plus. Oh man, just in time for the 10-year anniversary of Daredevil on Netflix. I love all three seasons. Probably some of the best MCU work ever done. Season 1 and 3 are probably my favorite MCU shows, along with Punisher Season 1. And the showrunners of that do this season. I love the first 2 episodes so far. Of course, they had many rewrites, after what they originally were going to do. They recalibrated it, and now it matches closer in tone and feeling to the Netflix show. It's a continuation, and I love that. You could tell the time taken away, but then also the actors and characters reminisce on that time and how much they have grown, how much has changed and how much has not changed. And Daredevil's just one of my favorite characters ever since the 2003 film. And it was heartbreaking to see season 3 be as epic as it was and then just canceled. And in a time when DC is just basically firing everyone and doing reboots that look cheap, it's nice to see Marvel back with a vengeance, bringing back beloved characters. We had Charlie Cox appear in She-Hulk and Spider-Man No Way Home. Kingpin made an appearance in Hawkeye and Echo, and now we get Daredevil Born Again. Before I continue, this will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2, don't watch this. Come back. If you have seen episodes 1 and 2, many fans of the comics, you may have had a theory of what was going to happen. The first 15 minutes you may have heard are almost like the equivalent of Alien 3. Not really, but they're really intense. And it shares this type of violence that you see on Netflix. Maybe not quite as heavy yet, but it's still in that ballpark. And I love seeing Poindexter back. Bullseye is in his suit. They pay off the cliffhanger of season 3. We get to see Karen, Foggy, and Matt. We get to see how they've grown in life with their firm, with life and relationships. And then the rug is pulled out under our feet. I figured it would either be Karen or Foggy or both because, and Bullseye killed Karen in the comics in the early 2000s. They almost did that in season 3. And I was curious to see the story because it's called Daredevil Born Again. Even though they adapted a lot of the Born Again elements from Frank Miller in season 3, I was just curious to see how this would continue that. It's Born Again in a renewal sense, in a reboot sense. But of course, they throw a curveball for non-readers and readers. Foggy is the one to bite the dust, and he gets shot by Bullseye, pushing Daredevil over the edge in a glorious, violent fight sequence, a continuous fight sequence. Oh my god. And the cinematography on these 2 episodes, and probably the series, I would say, but these 2 episodes feel very much like frames from a comic book. It's different. The intro is a bit more somber. It's kind of like a Bond intro. I do miss the kind of music that do-noo-noo-noo-noo-noo-noo. I miss that stuff. But it's still a nice intro. This is a different type of Daredevil. And in these first 2 episodes, we get to see Matt Murdock lose a friend, but then give up the cowl, give up being the man without fear, the devil of Hell's Kitchen, so to speak. He is Matt Murdock, defense attorney. We get to see that side of his life. Karen and how Foggy's death fractured their relationship. See Matt Murdock meet new friends, new co-workers, new love interests. But at the same time, we also get to see a very different Wilson Fisk, or Dewey. I love seeing Wilson Fisk as mayor of New York, wanting to go legitimate, and Vanessa has some feelings about that. It was nice seeing the original Vanessa back. Yeah, Kal-El's mom from Man of Steel. There's this great scene in a diner that is reminiscent of Heat, but then also not only serves Matt Murdock and Kingpin, but the actors. You could tell that they're kind of breaking the fourth wall a bit of there's been a lot of time that's passed. We've both had things happen in life, but how are things now? I love that little moment. Because, deep down, no matter how much people have changed, they never really change deep down. And that's one thing I love. I love the use of red and blue with the cinematography and the lighting. I love the certain theme of Daredevil being content with being a lawyer, but you can tell it's eating him inside, not being the devil, And I love seeing that slowly, seeing Kingpin's unraveling. There's definitely more than meets the eye. We also get James Gandolfini's son as a character. We get a reference to Ben Urich, who, is a main character in the comics who's killed off by Kingpin. We get to see his niece. She has something called the BB Network. I thought that was very interesting. The a new vigilante. We get a couple of vigilantes mentioned, actually, with Punisher, Spider-Man, and this new White Tiger guy. And he gets woven into the story in episode 2 optics in a very clever way. I love the parallels. You know, this filmed a year before, but with, let's just say, a felon and a crook as a world leader in government. There's certain parallels with a certain someone and Kingpin. And it's just kind of funny to see like the same effect of like Daredevil's like, I try to warn people about this, but if they really want this, then they're going to get the mayor of New York they deserve. We kind of got to see that with like the president, so to speak. But I digress. Daredevil is Marvel back in his top form. I wish the movies could be handled in this way, because this is just amazing and down to the spirit of Daredevil. We're going to have one of the middle episodes back to back, but from now on, it's mostly going to be one episode a week. I hope they continue prime time. I actually stayed up at 2 a.m. thinking it was going to come out like early in the morning, and then I found that it was in the evening. I hope they do that, because I enjoyed Ahsoka that way, and it's nice to talk about it. And as a Daredevil fan, the world's gone crazy since 2018. So much has been lost. So many of our heroes have been kind of like perversed or bastardized in media. And as a DC fan, with like everything rebooted and people fired, it's nice to see love over legacy, but also love for characters and them being brought back. And the devil has his due, to say the least. The soundtrack, I love Get Free by the Vines in episode 2. I love how they use that. The brutality of this. But what I also love is that it's more procedural than the Netflix. Netflix has some cases, but it was like one long narrative, where this is like, we get to see Matt Murdock as a lawyer defend people who have the world stacked against him, you know? And that's something that I like, is that he's the underdog. He represents the little guy. And that's something you see in the comics that you see here. And I'm just curious to see if like Wilson Fisk will reveal his identity in some way, like Born Again. Will we get like stuff with superheroes and vigilantes being targeted by Kingpin since he's mayor now? I'm just curious to see where the story is going to go. But I give it an A+. This is just an awesome show so far. And my only complaint is I wanted to binge the whole thing. It's that good. And I hope to continue the quality. I can't wait to see how Frank Castle factors in. There's some references to the Punisher. Now, either it's going to be like with corrupt cops, or it's kind of like these like racist skinheads you see in real life who wear Punisher skulls, but they don't represent what the character represents. So I wonder if we're going to see like the perversion of his message, and like Punisher having to deal with like that, of them taking it the wrong way, you know? I don't know what the story's going to be, but I am excited. It feels like a shared Marvel universe, and it's always been in the MCU. I never understood people who are like, Daredevil's finally in the MCU. I'm like, they mentioned the first Avengers and the property damage and like the cost of the property that was damaged in season 1. That was like the Kingpin's whole plan with the Hand organization. So it's like, it's always been in the MCU. I'm just wanting to know if we're going to have other Marvel characters, not only from the films, but even Jessica Jones or Luke Cage later down the road. Who knows? But overall, this took some swings. It was intense, and I just forgot how much I missed Daredevil. It was just a hell of a good time. Anyway, I can't wait to see what happens next week. Let me know your thoughts on these episodes of Daredevil, Born Again, down in the comments below. Let me know what you look forward to. Have you watched it? Have you checked out the Netflix one? In the meantime, you can check out these other Daredevil-related videos for more content. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Till next time.